Did you know that you and I are a work in progress? This past Monday, I began construction on a kids' play structure for our kids. And when I first got it, it came as a kit. It came in 2 large cardboard boxes and just a plastic slide. And so I went through the process. I opened up the boxes and I laid out all the lumber and kind of sorted it by number and laid it out on my grass. But as I looked around, all I saw was a bag of bolts and screws and this lumber laying around. And I really had no idea what it was going to look like. But yet I had an instruction manual that brought me step by step and showed me the process of how this was going to be constructed and what it was going to look like on the other end. Did you know in our spiritual lives, we are in that process? I love what the Apostle Paul says. He's writing to the church in Philippi and he's encouraging them. And he starts in the first few verses and he just says how he prays for them, how he's encouraged by them as they join together to see God accomplish great and mighty things. But then he reminds them that our sanctification, using that Christianese word, which really means just bringing us through a process of looking more like Christ, of becoming holy and sanctifying us to look more like Christ. He reminds them in verse 6 that this is a process, that Jesus comes and he works with us to make us day by day look more like him. He says this, he says, I am certain that God who began the good work within you will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns. I want to show you a little clip of Nolan, and he was working with Cheryl and I just loved his attention to detail. Check out this video of him.
How's it going, Bob the Builder?
Good. We're building a house. I can't even touch the top. This is measured.
Good. You got your T-square? Is it square?
Yeah. Let's see. This one's like tail. Tail. Let's see how good this one is. Okay, same. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Both of them is the same length.
What I love is that he was right in there. And he saw and he wasn't discouraged that this wasn't completed yet, but he was part of the process of seeing it get done. And what I also love is the attention to detail. As you see, he's counting out the inches and he has this idea that he knows things are supposed to be right. And he has this idea that there is a perfect way to get this done. And in my life and in your life, God has a perfect plan for our life. He has the attention to detail and he wants to bring us through this process that he brings our lives. And even when it seems like things are chaotic and a mess, he brings it together and he has a plan and a purpose for our lives, a plan and a purpose that he spends detail on to know that he works with us and he wants to sanctify us and purify us and make us look more like God day by day by day. And I just love, as I said before, what Paul the Apostle says, that he was going to continue this work until it is finished on the day of Christ Jesus. And I want to encourage you not to be discouraged if it seems like there's a process going on, or sometimes we blow it, sometimes we don't look like Christ. But yet, what God says over and over is to come to him with humility and with sacrifice and saying, God, I want you to use my life, put me together. You have the master plan and you know what this is going to look like. Paul continues to write to the church in Philippi. He writes in chapter 9 to 11. I want to read this for you and encourage you. says, I pray that your love will overflow more and more, and that you will keep on growing in your knowledge and understanding. For I want you to understand what really matters, so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the day of Christ's return. May you always be filled with the fruit of your salvation, the righteous character produced in your life by Jesus Christ, for this will bring much glory and praise to God. Here is another picture of once we got all the pieces together. It was a usable structure. I had the swings in place. I had the slide on, the monkey bars where they needed to go. And you see Kara enjoying the structure that we built. But yet, if you also look, there are still some pieces to be done. Some of the accessories, some of the fine tuning. There still needs to be a tarp over top of the top there. There's a little bench that's supposed to be attached to the side. But I wanted to show you this, that it's not completed quite yet. And the same with our lives, that as we live day by day, we're not completed quite yet. But yet we go through a process, and I hope it can be said of you and said of me that when our life was a mess, God did a work, and he's completing and he's working it. And what we see in our lives is a more godly, Christ-centered character than we did even last year. And as he brings us through this process of sanctification, as he brings us through this process of developing character in us, we allow him to do the work that he needs to do. We'll see you on Sunday, and I pray that you're encouraged until then. I hope you have a great week. Bye.